Welcome to Mic Check Waifu Waifu.
Mic check, waifu, King, Teliano. Is that you?
264. Wait, we here?
This is episode 264. Mic check, waifu. As always, it's brought to you by Patreon. Patreon.com, where you can get early access to the video version of this. Oh, wait, sorry. Patreon.com/mic check, waifu is where you can get early access to the video version of this podcast. This is where you can get access to our Patreon exclusive podcast, The After Stories, where you can get access to Take Talk, Mic Check Mangas, and other reviews. We couldn't be here without our Patreon producers. Shout out to the Patreon producers. Christian, the archivist. Shout out to him. We're going to talk about him a little bit later. Rob from Dad Needs to Talk. Fear. Glazed Yams. J. Lee Trait. Ked the Pro from Chaotic Culture. Explicitly. All for One, Matt Mazer. Altor. Monique Williams. Nachi. Semi Sensei, Frozen, Rob Stone. We're going to get to him later too. And last but not least, our guy, T Money Fingers. What's up, T Money Fingers? Hope y'all all are doing well. Shout out to all of our Patreon supporters. We couldn't be here without all of you, not just the producers, but the producers definitely keep the lights on. So we thank you for that. Got a lot to discuss today. But before we get into that, we are going to try to have a live show at the end of this month, which will be August 25th, will be the last show of the month, our live show on YouTube. So make sure you go to youtube.com/@MicCheckWaifu and subscribe so you know when we go live. I think I'm going to try to bring up a Twitch account for us.
Okay.
Do like a Mic Check Twitch account too, but we shall see. I don't know why I didn't do that 5 years ago, but I mean, it is what it is. Anyway, yeah, we got a lot to discuss. So last end of the month episode. Now, next week, we are going to do our mid-season midterms. Our midterms, it is the midpoint of the summer anime season. So we're going to give our grades on where we think the summer season is so far with the certain shows, as well as other topics of discussion when it revolves around the summer so far in comparisons to. So make sure you guys join our Discord, discord.miccheckwaifuwaifu.com. Join our Discord because we have most of the discussions come from there. It's easy to be a part of the discussion because we have a forum section where we discuss anime episodes. So feel free to post your anime episode discussions in there as well. Anybody can post it, don't matter what level of support you give us. Just join your Discord, join those conversations. A lot of good stuff happens over there. We appreciate everybody over there that participates. So without further ado, Tel, let's do further. How you feeling?
I'm good right now. Let me tell you something, bro. So, it's been an interesting week. Mm-hmm. Most people don't know this. I'm going to say most people because the only people who know is like my mom, my wife, and my kids. I went to the ER this week.
Whoa.
Yeah. And it's completely nonsense. It's crazy. Bulking season is in.
Okay.
So I'm no longer cutting weight. So I'm not trying to be ripped anymore. I'm trying to gain weight. And it was Friday night. We're eating bodilla tacos and pizza. I ended up eating. I had a bodilla taco and a pizza in my hand, and I'm eating both of them. and end up going down the wrong pipe essentially.
Oh yeah.
And it was there for like, let's say 30 minutes, whatever. I was like, all right, something got to shake. Can't do this. Ended up going to the ER. and they do some X-rays. They're like, oh yeah, it's definitely there, but ain't nothing we can really do about it until unless you want us to like get into anything major, like cut you open or something like that. And I was like, oh yeah, nah. They're like, but we can do. They gave me basically this. There's like a muscle relaxer that's supposed to focus around the neck to let it go down, and then another thing to like break it up. So I'm good, but I did go to the ER over just eating too much. Like not even too much, just like too fast, bro.
Yo, Polo, how did you lose your best friend of all time, your brother, and your podcast partner? He choked on a taco and a piece of pizza. Bro, that would have been wild.
It was wild. So I'm like, yo, I don't think I've ever done anything like that. They was like, are you okay? Like, because they were saying so it's funny because they told me like, you're okay. Like it'll pass because it's at a good point where it was. It'll pass. They were like, have you ever choked on something before? Because they thought I was just anxious. I was like, no, man, I'm not like, I don't think I'm tripping. Like, I'm legit, like, I'm telling you, like, I'm choking on something. Yeah. And then they scan, like, oh, no, he definitely choking on something. It just ain't nothing we could do about it unless we want to get surgical. So it was an interesting day, but I'm good. It's like I said, other than that, it was a great week. Well rested. I did very minimal driving, which is beautiful for me because I hate driving. I ain't gonna lie to you. But it's been a good week, and I put on 5 pounds like I've been intending to do. It's bulking season.
Nice.
I put on 5 pounds, but it's like I almost put off 180. almost lost all of it. But yeah, bro, it was funny. It's not funny, but it's funny.
Yeah. Well, it's funny now because you all right, but
yeah.
Yeah, man.
How your week been, bro?
Pretty good for me too, man. I'm about 95% better. Me and my lady think it's COVID. So we believe we had COVID for sure. Because it was just, shit wasn't right. I've never been that sick that long before. So, yeah. I mean, everything is good though. I'm feeling great. I don't have that cough anymore. I may clear my throat every once in a while only because I'm going to be talking so much for at least an hour and a half, 2 hours. So, but I'm good now. I feel good. So it's going to be a little bit more upbeat, Polo. I'm sitting upright in my chair this time. In a more tentative, I don't know. Last week episode wasn't too bad. When I was editing it, I'm like, I can't do any major edits because I'm just so fucking exhausted. Like it was so hard. Like I couldn't record after story this week for those of you who are subscribed to our Patreon. Sorry about that. Just been a rough sequence of weeks for us and when it comes to the after story, but it is going to come back. But I was struggling. I was like, man, I was exhausted all the time.
It's okay, bro.
I was coughing. It hurt. I'm like, ah, damn, I'm ready for this shit to be done. But enough, I drank enough throat coat tea, and which is the name of the tea, as crazy as it sounds. But the throat coat is the goat.
Oh, throat coat. Not throat goat. I thought you said throat goat tea. Okay.
No, throat coat tea. It works really well, though. It does wonders for soothing that inflammation that's in your throat when you cough a lot. So
that's good.
Yeah, I feel a lot better. My mom was all worried. You got COVID, but if I stub my toe, my mom think I got COVID, so that ain't do nothing.
I swear to God, and that's funny because my mom was also acting like the world was about to end.
Yeah, that's how our moms are. It's straight up. Both of our moms are very, very dramatic when it comes to us.
My mom pulled up to Polo House with a hammer.
Yeah, I would never forget that. And my mom came outside with a pot, so it's like they're very, very particular about their ones.
The John Wicks of mothers.
Yeah, straight up. But oh man, good time. This is an anime podcast. It's brought to you every 9:30 a.m. CT Central Time. Thank y'all so much for listening to us. Our listens go crazy. We love y'all. We definitely love the support y'all give us when it comes to the listens, because again, we can't take this for granted, but we literally don't do anything as far as like promoting our podcast, and y'all continue to support, and new people continues to flood in. Even don't do a good job of our YouTube channel, we get a couple of subscribers every once in a while. It's like, it's great that y'all support us, that y'all enjoy this content so much, even though that we're just two brothers shooting shit about a hobby that we both love.
Man, we do love it.
Definitely do love it. Big episode though today. Episodes of the week this week. I'm gonna start, Tell.
Let's go.
Actually, no, you could start.
Makeine.
Fuck you.
Heroines.
I should have started. God damn it.
Yeah, you should have started, but you let me go, and I wasn't gonna wait.
My episode of the week is also too many losing heroines. And I said this in Discord, and I mean this like from the bottom of my heart to the top of my soul. This episode 4 of Too Many Losing Heroines is the definition of a 10 out of 10 episode, or a 10 out of 10 episode for an anime for me on our scale. So if you're unfamiliar, My Check Waifu Waifu has a very unique review skill when it comes to reviewing anime. If you're new, you're going to notice next week when we do our mid-season review. But we are very, very particular when it comes to stuff. But if you want to know what a perfect 10 is for me, for Polo, as far as a episode of a show, it's Too Many Losing Heroines. This week it was brilliant. It was brilliant. And it had everything you can possibly want in it, from character development to pacing to art style or animation to plot. Everything about this one episode, even though the series itself is fantastic so far, but this episode itself stood out above the rest. Episode 4 of Too Many Losing Heroines was brilliant.
Yeah, bro. This episode was easily just too good. It was emotional. It was slice of life. It was, I don't know, it was a good time. It was like all of it all over the place. And I mean, shoot, the only thing that I could have compared to was 2 other slice of lives we had this week. like we said already, slice of life is eating this season.
It's destroying everything else. And that's not to shit on everything else, because there is some great everything else's as well. Like, unfortunately, and I'm gonna speak on this now, but Wistoria it had probably one of my least favorite episodes they've had this season, because it was a huge exposition dump, and it was like the exposition dump that we have disdain for. That we don't like. You know, the exposition dump where they just kind of spout history in a way that seems unnatural. You know?
Yeah, and especially when they already kind of gave us the history.
Exactly. So when they gave us the history and then they regurgitated it in a way where it's like people are having a normal conversation, why would y'all be talking about particular points of history in the world and stuff like that? And why is what? It was a very strange.
Filler.
Oh my God! Yes.
Time to get to the next moment.
It was exactly that. If it was a filler ass episode, but the end definitely picked up on it. But you could tell that they were just trying to let's fill time until we get to this part right here. And then, because they wanted that cliffhanger to be, it's like that part was already done, but they like, shit, we gotta build up to this point. And the way they build up was just giving us exposition.
Yeah, and they could have even fit like the whole conversation about the different houses, like fucking Gryffindor, Ravenclaw, and all that. They could have fit that into the first time or the previous episode where we saw them discussing what they were discussing. You know what I mean? It would have made that feel more relevant in
a narrated way.
So yeah, you know what I mean?
If they did like a narrator or something like that last episode with that particular history, that would have been a way better way of producing that. I agree.
Right.
I agree. If you don't mind, and now we normally don't do this, but I got to. It's our one of our producers. It's Rob Stone. He leaves a YouTube comment every week. His YouTube comments are literally my favorite. Like some of my favorite stuff to do during the week is to read them. But I just want to discuss what he got going on this week as far as the anime goes, and in particular, it's going to lead. His last sentence here is going to lead to a show that we have to talk about real quick before we get into the main topic. But he says, why does nobody remember me? I thought this episode, he being the episode before this most recent one, so last week's episode, I thought this episode was better, but I can totally see the flaws in both the character and the storytelling. I think it may be another unnamed memory. So rushed as it moves from set piece to set piece, and the emotional beats are meaningless and would be an interesting plot, just collapses as the foundations aren't there. Now, that is a perfect Rob Stone way to the point I wanted to discuss, because leading that show in particular, last week and this week, so the one episode he's talking about then and this week in particular, there is so many issues with this particular show that I don't I don't know why. I want to see it through to the end though. Mm-hmm. I hate it though. It's bad. It's like everything about it is bad as far as the pacing, and most importantly, the characters.
Garbage.
Are awful. They're god awful, but for some reason, I need to see it through to the end. And again, the animation is piss poor, but I don't care about that. The animation isn't that big of a deal to me. It's how do you develop something that's so thrown together like this that just it's like a dumpster fire that I can't look away from.
What kind of sucks about that show specifically is exactly the fact that what makes it interesting is that the plot, the premise, the outline of it is fire, bro. Imagine this. You're in 7th grade. You're in a study hall and you see this outline of Vegeta, but there's nothing on the inside. And that's exactly what this show is. Bro. The outline is fire. So it's like it's there, and I feel like it could have been done with so many different elements to make it good. I'm not sure if it's too many elements. I'm not sure if it's not enough, because it's like a mix of both. It's like they're trying to do too much and not enough at the same time.
It gotta be that. It has to be the fact that it's 12 episodes and there's all these different parts that it needs to touch on. But I still think it could be done better than what it is, right? Like we kind of went from the start. Okay, maybe it's because, and maybe this can be completely different. Maybe it can turn into something spectacular because of the fact that it had to start off with the fact that he was in a world before where he had to be forgotten. So maybe it's because of all of that had to be done within one episode that everything else felt more rushed. But it's kind of hard to even justify that because of the simple fact is it don't excuse the piss poor pushing of the plot of very, very what could be a good plot to the simple garbage.
And I, not to offer like a counter argument, but to me, like the first episode was the best episode.
100%. And
it was the slowest paced episode, in my opinion, even though we got so much in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard to like really justify any of this, like what we're getting. Other than the fact that a lot of it does feel like just overly stuffed into one episode, but we're still not getting the character development we want. We're still not getting the relationships we want. Like it's just non-existent almost. Like it's there. Like they set the groundwork for it, but it's like, where is the rest of the relationship? Where is the rest of me caring about these characters even?
I'm going to be honest. This makes Unnamed Memories seem good.
But that's because Unnamed Memories started with 6 decent episodes. You know what I mean?
6 compared to what, 4 now? 4 or 5? Yeah, you're right. Maybe it can be the exact same by the time it's all said and done. But I don't know why. This is one I would normally drop for sure. But for some reason, like, I gotta see this one through.
It's compelling. And that's the crazy part about it.
Its uniqueness is very compelling, I guess.
Yeah.
Right. So, yeah, it's tough. It's tough. Okay, so let's move on to another piece of the community before we get into the main topic. Let's talk about what we are reviewing next week for our mid-season review. So I posted in Discord. I should have posted on Twitter too. I didn't know why. I just hate going on there. So excuse me, but I posted it in Discord. I said, it's that time. Any suggestions for a show that you think we should review for the midpoint of the summer anime season? And both 2 of our producers came through with 2 suggestions. Now it's going to be up to me and Tail to choose between these 2 suggestions, but let's take a look. So the first one was from our producer, All For One Matt. He says, I choose this one. It's 13 episodes. It's a quality mid show in his opinion.
Okay.
And it's Alderamin. Yeah, there it is. I had to blow it up the picture so I can actually see the words. Alderamin on the Sky. So let's take a look at that.
Alderamin.
Is that what it says?
Alderamin on the Sky.
Yeah, Alderamin on the Sky.
Got it.
There it is. Let's take a look. So you want to read the synopsis there? I don't know why my shit ain't loading.
The Katvarna Empire is at war with the neighboring Republic of Kyoka. In the Katvarna Empire, the lazy woman admiring Ikuta hates war, but due to certain circumstances, he grudgingly takes the high-grade military officer exam. No one would have expected that this 17-year-old young man would eventually become a soldier called a great commander by others. Ikuta survives the world engulfed in war with his superior intellect.
So it's a Code Geass kind of show, it seems.
Well, I mean, oh my God, you said Code Geass. That's funny.
That's what it seemed like to me.
Is there mechs? I mean, it could be. Let's see. He could be just good at combat war. It seems like a very militant-esque show. I would say it looks interesting, mostly, and it could be partially because it's Studio Madhouse, so we know that. You know what I mean?
That's interesting. Okay, let me read this next one. This is from Saphir. He says, this is one I've been meaning to get off my list. I appreciate what Fear does when he gives us one to reviews, because he just goes through his list like, oh, this was on my list, I need to finish it anyway, so here's one. So something that he hasn't seen, which makes it all the more cooler for him to participate in this particular review. But Fear says, Mayuryu no Hako is the one he recommends, and it says between August and October of 1952, a series of unusual crimes take place in the Mashishino and Mataka. The attempted murder of a 14-year-old Kanako Yuzuki, Kanako's abduction from the strange research hospital, where she was recovering. Okay, this synopsis is fucking weird.
Here it is. I found the name.
It's a very weird synopsis the way it's written. Then it's like it's Google translated. The abduction of the other girls, followed by their severed limbs in custom-fitted boxes being placed in surrounding towns. What the fuck? News editors Morihiko Toriguchi and crime fiction writer Tasami Sakaguchi investigate with the help of Oyomiyuji. Jesus, okay. Oyomiyuji. I'm just not going to try the last name. Meanwhile, Tokyo police detectives Shitaro Kiba searches for Kanako despite Kanagawa's police having jurisdiction. And the lawyer of the estate of the Kanako's... This fucking synopsis is a mess, okay? And it's probably because it came out in 2008. Basically,
Studio Madhouse too.
I was just about to say it's Studio Madhouse, but basically this is it's a mysterious supernatural thriller where these girls' body parts are found scattered around a town. It's interesting. It reminds me of a hentai I watched one time, but
oh my goodness,
very strange hentai, I must say. Anyway, I don't know. It's 13 episodes, 23 minutes. They're both of them are 13 episodes, both by Studio Madhouse.
So let me tell you why I'm torn. And in the recommendations for this, I see Saga of Tanya Evil. I see 86, A Regular Magical High School.
Oh, for the Alderamin, whatever, the other one.
Yeah, and then for the recommendations, I see Bakemonogatari.
Yep.
I see Psychopaths.
But I also see Boogie Pop, and Boogie Pop stinks.
See, I never seen that. But yeah, right. So I see some shows I really like, and then I see
both.
Some things that are kind of like, okay, I don't really care about that.
Interesting.
All right, bro.
What you thinking?
I have a choice. I have a decision I've made already.
I'm leaning more towards the On the Sky one.
Okay, Alderamin. That's I agree. That's where I'm sitting.
Only because for this particular one, it's a murder mystery thriller. Every time we've done one of those, i.e. 91 Days or Banana Fish, They haven't turned out to be great.
They haven't hit the way we wanted to hit. And I mean, yeah.
But however, Fear wants to clean it out of his list. So this is what we could do. We can add this to a doc.
Mm-hmm.
So we will always we can always have this prepped for another mid-season review, or even if we feeling frisky, we do another review this season. But one never know, depending on how the weeks fall, et cetera, et cetera. But I am interested in it only for the simple fact is it came out in one of my favorite years of anime, and that's 2008. 2008 was a great year of anime. So it seemed like it'd be fun, and it also doesn't even have a place to watch it. Like, I don't even know where the hell we would even find this. Is it on Crunchyroll?
No, I didn't even look yet. I'm getting ready to make this doc for the anime we should review.
Okay, yeah. We'll definitely put this in there, but we're going to start off with the Alderamin ramen one, whatever the fuck it is. Yeah, so this one isn't even on Crunchyroll, so we'll have to search high and low for a way to watch it. Interesting though. I'm definitely gonna keep that in the doc because that seems interesting. But all for one, Matt, thank you for the suggestions. We are going to review that particular show. It's dubbed. It's also dubbed, so that's interesting, which is unusual for us. Usually they're never dubbed. But I'm gonna listen to both. Add it to my watching list. Oh, speaking of watching list, the want to watch more hit me again, and I started watching. I finished up Ancient Magnus Bride season 2.
Let's go. What you think about it?
Really good, man. Really,
it is
really, really good. It I don't know how it does the so many character thing really well. Ancient Magnus Bride has so many characters this second season. It was a lot, but it worked out really well. Like, and even the implications of what's coming next is also very, very fun. So I'm looking forward to watching more of that. But this is hard to talk about because let's talk about what we're going to spoil real quick before we continue on with the main topic, because the main topic has to do with what we're going to spoil. And I'm going to bring Oshinoko. I'm definitely going to bring Oshinoko into the spoiler talk this week. So, because that's where this main topic originated from via, again, the Discord. Shout out to the Discord, specifically TCB and Fear. And the conversation that we had in there about this most recent episode. But can we talk about it? Can I talk about it without spoiling? I think I can.
I mean, okay.
So here's the problem with the topic of the show. It's so based in Oshinoko's conversation that it's hard to talk around it. But you know what? I'm gonna do my best. I have to. The main topic of today is character nuance.
Oh yeah.
What does nuance mean? Nuances in characters are seeming contradictions in the character's actions and responses that reveal the character's struggles and depths. Nuanced characters are relatable because they like most readers, possess the ability to change their minds, experience confusion, and undergo transformation. Okay. What does nuance mean in literature? Nuance in literature refers to the subtle differences in a word, meaning that part isn't important. It's just the character nuances that we really need to discuss. But the conversation stemmed from a conversation that happened in our Oshinoko forum post, because that's where we discussed the show. I just put, I hate Kana. Now, I know Kana is a very popular character in the Oshinoko fandom. They love her. They love her design. I can't fucking stand her. I hate her guts. We're going to go into why I hate her guts more so in the spoiler half of the show. But I'm trying to go to the conversation in Discord that was where it originated from, where this nuanced conversation originated from. Oh, here it is. It's TCB. I because there's a lot. Okay. Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm breezing through the conversation here. But basically, it started off. He says he basically TCB, to summarize. He says, "I see why you hate her. I get it, but he then says I see more of nuance in her character's past. That's in more of her past. Hence why I like this arc so much." And I just put nuance, and I put question mark, exclamation mark, question mark, exclamation mark. And he says both her and what was that? Is that too much spoilers? No, it's kind of surface level. He says both her and Akane's growth as part of being child actors and their motivations behind that. And then I put that doesn't excuse. You know what? I'm gonna stop there because I feel like I'm gonna go into spoilers. But character nuances, man. I do think we have to understand what that actually means, right? Yeah. I don't think in particular for this particular conversation, Kana has any nuance to her. I think it's very. I mean, and again, this has come from somebody who hasn't read it. So, and Fear agrees with TCB about the character nuance thing. He replied to that message and said, I concur. But I must say, like, that part don't make sense to me only because there isn't much nuance to her whatsoever, in my opinion. And it's only because of what I see, right? What I've seen so far and what I've got so far. These two are readers of Oshinoko, so they know a little bit more about her character and how far she goes and don't go. But for me, it's not much to her, right? She's surface level. She's a failed child actor who's very entitled. I'm gonna just say that. That's really it. There's not much else to growth-wise as far as who she is. She's just she's only been in this particular series so far up to where we are a nuisance. An absolute nuisance. And what's funny is in this most recent episode, they even point that out. Aqua would even point that out as a main character. Like he says, I want to kill her. Like I wanted to kill her. Like she's nothing but a frustrating piece of this puzzle so far. And it's a very simple. It's not much to her at all. Like I don't see the nuance there. I just think she's fucking boring and predictable and annoying and entitled and spoiled and trying to win back what she lost because of her own arrogance. Like it's just maybe that is nuance, right? But it's not. I don't know.
So I do think that she does have nuance, and I say that because in the first season we do get that idea of her being the, like you said, the entitled character, child actor. And
which I guess that is technically nuanced to her.
She's seemingly like advanced. Then we get in the future of that very same in that first season where Aqua had to push her to actually get that further advancement out of her acting. And then we get, development into where they're essentially going now, where I feel like her personality has shifted. She does seem still a bit entitled, but not as much as like it would have been, right?
I don't
at least from the first season. To me, it seems like she's more personable. Now I can understand why you don't like her, because I think she's a headache too. Especially to Aqua. Why she seems like she's a tag along.
Yo.
I mean, I don't know if that's how you feel, but I feel like she's a tag along. Like she is. If this was real life, I'd be like, why are you always here?
There's nothing, and what I say there's no nuance to her. I think I'm looking at it as far as her relatability. Like she's been the same since she was a child actress. She was arrogant. She was entitled. She was spoiled. Now she's failed and still fell down to like the goodness gracious of being that star. And is this regular girl now, essentially, but she's still entitled, spoiled, and arrogant. And how is that, to me, how is that nuanced? It's just that. It's just been that for her entire character. And again, like I said, with the way they referenced it in this most recent episode, Aqua wanted to kill her then, and he probably wants to kill her now. Like, it's just, she's just annoying. She's just like a pain in the ass. And yeah, is she a good actress? Yes, absolutely, she's good. But her arrogance and narcissism doesn't match her talent, right? Like, she's not that good, you know, because if she was that good, she wouldn't have failed. You know what I'm saying? It's just,
right.
There's a lot of things that I don't see nuance here. I just see the same shit from when she was a child to where she is now. There's no growth. There's no change. There's no relatability to her whatsoever.
Now, the issue is like the word nuance is so like, so I'm looking at the same thing you're looking at, and I've been trying to figure out like how to actually look at this, and there's like a bunch of different ways. We're talking about like a nuanced person and all these things, talking about like a person who would be able to see finer points in life, etc., that kind of stuff, right? And I feel like that there's nuance within the word nuance, because there's always things we're looking at in terms of that.
That's true.
But it's like, I feel like the way that she even observes the scenarios that we're dealing with, those are things that would make her seem like a developed character in some ways, because she can break down and articulate how other characters act and how other characters do things. And I think that we like, what's her name, Kona better. Akane. I think she's just way better. I agree in every aspect.
Much more. And it's from what we got from season 1 to now, that's much more nuanced to her with her character than there ever is with Kana.
Right. So I can see that. But like, for instance, I watched 4 episodes of Code Geass. Not specifically to shift the nuance.
Yeah, please.
But I feel like those characters, the new season of Code Geass, Rose.
Mm-hmm.
I hate the show because I feel like the characters really don't have depth to them. And I'm looking at
to be fair, neither did Code Geass.
Huh?
I said, to be fair, neither did Code Geass, but I'm gonna catch some hate for that.
Yeah. I mean, hey, go ahead. But I feel like, and it's funny because I look at the forum post and they're talking about you don't need Lelouch for it to be a good Code Geass, and I'm gonna say that it kind of looks like you do. And it sucks because it's like the ambitions feel shallow, and that's kind of where I'm looking at with the nuance, is that it doesn't feel as in depth. It doesn't feel as well articulated. It doesn't feel as well put together. And that's what I think about when I think nuance, is that some of these things need to come together to make a coherent being or person or character or dynamic or plot, whatever, right? And I feel like I haven't caught up completely, but I can see why the rating for Code Geass is lower than 70%. Or at least for this current season of Code Geass, because there's so much of it that either lacks nuance or just isn't good. And I feel like that is a thing, is that nuance makes things relatable. It makes it makes more depth. And the nuance, like, and I hate to say it, even like when you look at the previous episode where we were talking about the writers of Oshinoko, right? Where the two characters, the previous manga writers, there was so much nuance in 10 minutes of that episode that it was crazy.
Between those two characters. Yeah,
and it was so enjoyable, right?
Yes.
So for me, that's a thing that makes it so dynamic and so interesting to watch. Whereas like in 4 episodes of Code Geass, I wanted to check my phone. I had to restart episode 3 like 2 times.
Yeah. And that's a perfect way of looking at it. Like, because I see nuance different. I see nuance as when I thought of it, like before I looked up the definition of nuance when they said it, because I'm like, maybe I'm misremembering what nuance mean, but I don't feel like Kana has any. And it's mostly because I feel like nuance it involves the change and the growth of a character, right? I think it's the way they are developed from point A to point B and how they get there, right? Their ambitions, their goals, their blah 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 blah. Like, she has a goal, but she has had the same goal since she was a child. It's not much. She's not much different than what she was. She's still that entitled, spoiled brat. And
I also, when I said, so not Kana, I think Akane is better than Kana.
Yeah, that's why I corrected you.
Akane is a GOAT character.
Yeah,
I love her.
She's the best, not only with the way she's ride or die for Aqua, right? But it's from what she went through in season 1 to where she is now, to this point, and the reasons why she is like, she's still considered a great theater actress is because of the way she grows and learns and take lessons and able to hear other people and take it in and learn from it. Kana is the opposite. It's like you can't tell her nothing.
And it could be it could be that a lot of her nuance was lost after the first season, because I feel like in the first season she definitely had a lot of it, because it was about her no longer being that child star, and her crying about it and watching how her telling about how she overcame those moments. That's technically nuance in a sense of how they're trying to develop her, but it doesn't mean that she's good because of it. It
would be if she got better. She's no different. She's still arrogant. She's still entitled. Like, there's, if you just take a look at that, that's the part that I'm referring to mostly, is the entitlement and the arrogance within her character. Nothing has changed from when she was a child to where she is now as a 16-year-old girl or 17-year-old girl. That is my problem. There's no nuance there whatsoever. Maybe there is to come later down a road with the manga readers, Fear and TCB, so I can understand how they could say that, because she probably has some redemption arc that's crazy for them to say her nuance in this particular season is what they appreciate the most about her, even though there is next to none, or you have to dig for it, or we have to look up definitions of nuance to find out what the fuck they mean. Because yes, if you look at nuance in a specific way, then sure, she has some, yes. But if you look at nuance in the nuance of the nuance in another way, she doesn't really have none. She's still entitled and arrogant. So it's like, for me, I don't see the change. But I think character nuance is, again, it goes back to what we talk about on this podcast the most. So everybody that listens for 200 some odd episodes, y'all hear us talk about this. So if your characters fucking suck in anime, I'm not going to enjoy the anime. I don't care how bad the animation is. You can have a slideshow for animation. I don't care. As long as the characters are relatable, approachable, likable, you will have probably a good show. That's just how I feel about it.
I do wonder. So I want to ask this real quick.
Yeah.
Because I know how I feel about Oshinoko. Because I think it's a phenomenal anime, obviously. And I believe you think the same.
100%.
Do you think that her, like, so for your opinion, her lack of nuance, do you think that's intentional for her character to have a certain impact at some point?
Yes, I do.
Because to me, I think she's well written for what she's supposed to be.
Right. And it's not, again, the conversation of nuance doesn't go to say that Oshinoko is bad or the characters in Oshinoko is bad. I think Kana is a terrible person. She's a great character, a great fucking character. Because she's like, the fact that
she does push the dynamic of the show.
The fact that I'm having this conversation and these thoughts is what makes Kana a good character. Like, I would never take away from her character being bad, because the fact that I hate her means that she's a good character. However, I will say that what I was going to end with, and it was a perfect Montel way, is I do believe she's this unnuanced, or whatever the fucking opposite word of nuance is. I do think she's this plain and simple because that redemption arc is coming. I do think it's some redeeming effect that puts a spell on TCB and Fear when they read it. How they feel about her character. I do think she is going to be more than what we're getting right now, and I think it's going to be because of Akane. I think she's going to be the catalyst to making Kana better somehow. So it's a great show, great cast, brilliant. If this season continues where it is. Let me look at my top 10 real quick. There's a possibility that I don't know. It's a strong possibility that they can make it, only because, like, while I can, like, completely remove Astro Lost in Space, love Astro Lost in Space. This is a 10 out of 10 show, but I can remove that for the impact that Oshinoko is having on my feelings and the conversations of it all. Like, Oshinoko could be where Asher Lost in Space is on my list. And Asher Lost in Space is 9. So I can put Oshinoko there and wouldn't lose a wink of sleep. But I do feel like it's a great show. Great show.
Okay.
All right. What else are we going to spoil? Even though I feel like maybe you kind of dove a little bit into Oshinoko.
Maybe. Yeah, I mean, we ain't touched the details technically, but I want to talk about Makeine.
Yep, Too Many Losing Heroines.
I kind of want to talk about, what is it? Love is Indivisible by Twins.
Okay, let's do it. Yeah, let's do it. Let's talk about that one. All right, let's get to know Mic Check Waifu as well. It's Tell's turn to read the question associated with that. For the uninitiated. Get to know Mic Check Waifu is where one of us rolls a random number generator, the other reads a question associated with that number, and you get to know us a little bit better. So we're going to pull everything up because we were ill prepared for this.
Well, I got the list up.
Oh, you weren't ill prepared. And I got the number up. The number is 63.
Let's go. We got, what is your favorite science fiction anime?
Steins Gate. It's the best science fiction anime of all time.
Currently, I'm going to say Vivi Fluoride's I Song.
Yeah, Steins Gate's still better, but Vivi is great. Top tier Vivi. If you haven't seen Vivi, one season show, go check it out. You won't be disappointed. Very pretty. Very, very pretty. Okay, so when we come back, we're going to spoil Oshinoko. We're going to spoil Indivisible by Twins. Love is Indivisible by Twins. And we're also going to spoil. What else did we say? I forgot that fast.
Oshinoko, Love is Indivisible by Twins, and Too Many Losing Heroines.
Too Many Losing Heroines. We'll be right back after these. and welcome back to episode 264 of Mic Check Waifu. Thank y'all so much for listening. We appreciate it. Hope y'all enjoyed that conversation. Moving on. We're going to start with spoiling Oshinoko, going into depth about this most recent episode. The reason why I stated I hate Kana is because the unnecessary bullshit she pulled with Akane this episode. Oh, she was my fan and blah, blah, blah. It was just it was tactless. It was unnecessary. It was over dramatic, obviously. It was entitled. It was gross. Everything she did was gross. And it's mostly because she hating because Akane is with Aqua.
She's her man.
Which is, y'all already don't belong together, is how I feel. Like, I don't think, even though it isn't how Aqua sees it at all, because he's technically an older man, so he don't really see anybody like that. I do feel like it was, I don't know. I hate her. She offers nothing to the overall story of Aqua besides an irritant.
And that's something I was actually thinking about when watching this episode. Was like, I'm watching it and I'm like, and I think that's partially what makes this show so good, is that I keep thinking about this is a murder mystery. This is a murder mystery. What is her tie? You know what I mean? Because she started off as a reason to push the show forward. Mm-hmm. But I feel like her character has to have a continued tie to what is actually going on. Now I know that she's going to be part of the like idol group.
Well, she's the main singer, so that's, I guess, it. Right.
But we haven't seen much on that technically for at least this entirety of this season. Mm-hmm. So I'm a little concerned about what her role is going to be going forward. And I know that obviously she's going to be acting in this play, which I'm actually super excited for, because she does
be crazy.
Pumped. And let's be real, even though her like we talked about Nuance, her character development hasn't really changed much technically in this season. I feel like she's about to pop off. And I know it's going to be so enjoyable, bro. I feel like, and that's where this show thrives, is when, and we got a little bit of seeing Aqua get back into like using his emotions and whatnot to get the best out of his acting, because we know it's going to be good. I think the show thrives when they show us the acting and hit us with like, because it feels like we're watching live people act sometimes when we get into those moments. So I'm excited to get back to that point, bro. How you feeling about when we finally probably get to that point?
Before we get to that, though, Till, if you don't mind,
let's do it.
I want to take a step back.
Okay.
What makes the show so fucking special is the nuance with our main character. There's something that was said this episode that was so pertinent that I saved just for this portion of our podcast. I didn't mention it at all to nobody in the Discord or to even you until right now, when he said this guy's body can't handle the fact of the past of his mom, right? Of Ai's death. So when he tries to put her there to see if he can control it, and he said this guy's body. So it's not him that's feeling that PTSD that he's getting. Like the character that was the guy that we got at the beginning of this entire series, the doctor, right? That was murdered. It wasn't, right. It was him. It's him specifically. He's talking about this body can't control it, meaning he still have this split body situation going on with Aqua, Ai's son, and him, the doctor, because he was a fucking doctor. He's seen shit. So of course, seeing somebody be stabbed is obviously something that wouldn't traumatically hurt a doctor, right? But a kid who this kid's happened to be his mother, it could traumatize him, right? So I think that little piece of story that we got was major for what this show is to me, because of the fact that he still separates Aqua and, well, I can't remember the doctor's name.
Yeah, his original name.
Yeah, I really want to know Yeah, they don't even have it listed anywhere. That sucks. But yeah, the original doctors, like it's I never even thought about that being a situation that they would have, right? I thought they would just, I've been reincarnated as Aqua, right? But now to know that he feels separate from Aqua, what do you think that implicates within this show?
So, and I'm only going to say this because I know how deep your mind goes. I don't think it's actually that in depth. And hear me out.
The show never does that. They never do that.
I agree. But I'm only saying this because I'm not certain. And we haven't gotten that same kind of context from Ruby yet. So maybe we will.
We wouldn't know because she's a kid with no experience. Right. A terrible past life. Right.
But here's what I'm thinking. Because I think what you're saying does make a ton of sense. What I see though is that he's not, like you said, he's not a kid. He's an intellectual. He is a doctor. He's someone who is able to like stand above the situation and really like try and look at the bigger picture.
Right.
I think that he knows, and I only say this because I mean, ultimately, I don't really know. I've never been put into somebody's body. It's not you can take my brain out and put it into somebody else's body and say that's Montel now. But I think that, yes, he knows that as the doctor, he would not have been affected this way. But because he is now technically like Aqua, he's lived as Aqua his entire life, that it doesn't necessarily feel like this is who he is because he lived 30 plus years as someone else. It's going to be hard to just assimilate to somebody else. Even if it's been 16 years, you were 30 plus years as somebody else. So I do think that that's what he's going at. Not that he technically is two different people, but is that this body isn't his because he's not. He's been someone else for more than 30 years.
And that's to clarify, that's what I mean. I don't mean it necessarily as him.
Yeah.
Him saying that I'm battling between Aqua and the original doctor or me. It's just the fact that he's saying like, listen, I wouldn't have a problem with this PTSD that I'm suffering from. It's Aqua that is having this problem, but like I still think that has a strong piece of like what he's after, what he's doing, like what he's his infatuation with figuring out who this killer is. Like he's more so concerned about the killer of I than he is the killer about himself.
And that I think is why his nuance is so important, right? Because it almost does feel like, so yeah, when Aqua is there, it seems like another character. But when he goes into the doctor is the one that's almost like super analytical, looking at every point in detail and trying to match it with things that he can possibly remember from his previous life or anything like that. But I think even this season, he mentioned that he's even starting to kind of forget his previous life. He did mention that this season, right?
I think so.
Was it a couple episodes ago? But either way, now that you say it that way, I completely agree that yes, there is a battle of those two characters, and like that convergence of this doctor is dealing with the PTSD from, technically what feels like a whole nother person to him, but it's still him,
right?
But that's what creates so much of the like development in this show, because you do see like we looked in the mirror again. And he's trying to, and when he sees I, it's all of those different emotions. He's feeling 4, 5, 6, 7 different emotions looking into the mirror, trying to imagine I.
And that's about to get him into his aura mode.
It's about to go crazy.
His acting about to go stupid. So hopefully he doesn't faint. But I love
on stage.
Right. I love the way when he pointed out the fact that he's going to he's about to use that, even though he said, my body still can't handle, this guy's body still can't handle it. I do think maybe that was just a translation. That could have even been just a translation issue too. But I don't know, man. Oshinoko don't do that. They don't say nothing for no reason. So,
and I agree. There's nothing I think is said out of turn or out of place in this show.
Right.
So I entirely agree because for sure, that's what it feels like. It feels exactly like this is a well thought out character, and the character does a great job of really like talking out everything that happened within him, right? He does a great job of articulating his plan and what he wants to do next. So yeah, it does not feel like this is someone who is just like lollygagging in terms of like how they actually feel. It's an accurate description. So I don't think that the authors have written him to say anything that's not true in a sense.
Yeah. And I was just thinking like maybe High Dive translators translated, the
localization team.
The localization team kind of fucked it up. But it wouldn't be that specific, right? Like it just makes me want to rewatch the episode, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's fucking great. It's great. It's a great episode, man. And that me catching that part had me like, oh shit. So now I'm thinking of, is he even that emotionally invested, or is it Aqua that's emotionally invested? It's like it's so many Aqua, right? And like I'm speaking in general terms because it's just a way you can think about it. It's just so much nuance within that character that it's just hard to even fathom. But I'm looking forward to next week. By the time y'all are hearing this, next week it will probably be out
in 2 days.
Yep. So
about when it's released.
About when this episode released. So yeah, that acting part probably popped off already and we're behind, but still.
And you know what's even better though? Hear me out.
What's up?
It's not even the full play yet. That's just like isn't that like just the beginning play, or is that that's a rehearsal, like a dress rehearsal, right?
No, I think just the play.
Full play?
Yeah, because this is yep.
Go crazy for the end. This is about to go crazy.
It's about to go so crazy. And then they did exactly what I'm glad they didn't do. They didn't switch to the girls yet.
Yeah.
So they're gonna let the story wrap and then switch over to the girls, which I don't know if I care.
Phenomenal.
I don't know if I care about them too much, but
I mean, you ain't got to right now. We got the meat and potatoes still.
Unless they hoe us and they my hero us.
I mean, I just finished that manga, by the way.
Oh, aren't you glad it's over?
Glad. I don't even want to talk about it.
I'll just be so happy when it's over. That's all I care about. Just be done. Like how I was with Attack on Titan. Just be done.
Yeah. I don't know if it was a better ending than Attack on Titan, but sheesh.
You don't know if it was a better ending than Attack on? That's not good. That's not good at all.
I don't know, bro. I don't know.
That's rough. All right, let's move on to
mad decent.
Oh shit, okay. Very, very mediocre then. All right, let's move on to Indivisible by Twins.
Bro, first of all, I love these characters.
Do you now?
Second of all, I don't think any of these characters can do anything wrong. I'm just joking.
I agree. I'm gonna be real.
Here's my thing, bro. It's really what I really want to talk about was the last bits of this episode.
Yes, me too.
Because everything else was like, it was slice of life. It was developmental in a sense, but it was the last moments where. And do you even mind if we jump tight to the last?
No, please do.
Okay, all right. He said, "I'm sorry, I know we're dating, but just know." And she said, "I mean, we're not dating as far as what I believe.
According to me, we're not dating."
I'm like, okay, so yeah, what's going on here? It intrigued me, and I say that because I feel like, first of all, these sisters are not stupid. I feel like she knows that
June is still.
She knows that Rumi essentially set this up. so that Naori can have this relationship with June.
Yep.
And I think that she's going to say more or less that obviously we're not really dating because you're using me. Yeah, you're still in love with Rumi. And I know what it really is, even though Rumi thinks or originally thought that he was really in love with Naori, or thought that he was perfect for her, not that he was originally in love with her. But the issue is that, like, there's so much, and this is like, I know this isn't necessarily messy, but it's kind of messy.
It's very messy. Like, what do you mean? You keep saying it's not messy, and I don't see that. Y'all
running in this literal circle.
Exactly.
Behind each other. And it's like, bro, I'm so bad at predicting slice of life. I have no idea where this goes. And now I was just like, I literally stood up in my seat when she said that in the last moments. I really just want to know what you think about that. Because I'm like, bro, what?
It was expected, yet very unexpected in the way it happened, right? Like I feel like
it was refreshing.
Huh?
I felt like it was refreshing because I didn't expect it.
So it was expected because of the fact that in the beginning of this episode, to go back to the beginning, or was that last episode? It might have been last episode. It doesn't matter. When she heard June comforting Rumi about the whole basketball thing, and in the way that they were close to each other, and the way they talked, and that whole conversation, when she was outside of her, Naori was outside of the room and she heard that, it's like, okay, I get it. He's not really for me. Or when she was in the classroom crying, you know what I'm saying? Like, these are all moments and scenes where she knew that for her, it wasn't going to be anything more than just a pity date.
Right.
A pity type of relationship. And Naori is not the type to be pitied. You can tell from the way her character is designed. So with that, she's like, okay, I'm going to enjoy what I can with this date. It was going to be the last date. I thought it was going to be Bench Kun though. You know what I'm saying? I thought Bench Kun was going to come back, and then that's where she was going to break up with him like Rumi did.
He said bench. Bench in the relationships.
However, even though I was expecting them to break up, I was not expecting them to break up like this, where it was a moment of lust even. And even though she knew, like, yeah, no, we're not dating. Even though she knew that that's what it was going to be, she still attempted to tell him, like, look, you could do whatever you want to me, even though in her mind y'all wasn't dating, because she knew, like, the love wasn't there. The love wasn't
real.
It was somewhere else at that particular moment. And it's not to say that he doesn't like her, but you know what really sparked my thought after I watched this episode?
Mm-hmm.
Love is indivisible by twins.
Mm-hmm.
Indivisible is not divisible, not separable into parts, incapable of being divided. So this love that these two twins have for him is incapable of being divided. They both love him to death. That made me think that this show is going to take a turn for neither one of them is going to be with him.
Exactly.
And that sucks, but it's also a fantastic way of doing a series, I think.
I agree, because I literally was thinking the same thing, because I was looking at the title, like, Love is Indivisible by Twins, like, this can't end well. But and I don't mean like that them not being together isn't well. Like, them not being together, it could be a perfect scenario.
Right.
But another thing in this episode that got me was, like, before he went to that last scene where we got that last moment, he said, how do I break it to her? Right. He invites her to watch a movie. Mm-hmm. And it was like, were you trying to break it to her that you wanted to break up with her, but she got you with it first, or what's going on? And while I say that, because while I feel like it's a breakup, we don't 100% know. You know what I mean? I feel like inherently the words are like, this is a breakup. You know what I mean? Like, we're not together. That's how I feel, right? Like, I agree with you, right? It's a breakup, but I feel like what's the next step after this?
Right.
Is it the separation of them and them trying to figure out where they stand again?
They all just need to have a talk.
But that's not gonna happen for a while.
You know what I'm saying? Right? Like it just all three of them need to sit down and have a conversation. Like, listen, here's the situation. And because June told Rumi everything this episode too. He's like, listen, I did like Naori. I thought she was it, but it was a crush. That crush has long subsided, and I end up liking you. I was with you and was happy with you for you to break up with me. Now, you break up with me to tell me to be with Naori because you think that Naori belongs with me. Not what I feel. June, it's about what Rumi thinks for June. And that's
out here wrong.
And you out here wrong. So that's what makes this so fucking messy, Till. And you say it's not messy. And trust
I'm
me,
not sure if it's messy.
I am the king of mess anime. Like Love Lies and Scum's Wish and Domestic Girl. All these shows that are just terribly Golden Time. All these shows that are terribly messy, I know very well. This one is very messy. Only because of it's a relatable wrong that's being done, right? It's a relatable wrong only because I'm thinking of kids, right? These are young 16-year-old kids who don't really know much about relationships and really don't really know what this feeling that they feel really is, because you have two twin sisters who are absolutely inseparable. They're indivisible. They love each other to death and they want the best for each other. However, they're in a situation where both of them have the same feelings for this guy that they grew up with, who was a fantastic guy, who's a great character, who has a very deep connection with both of them. It's a problem. It's a very tough problem for him to solve, for them to solve, but like they're all just fucking up. All of them are just fucking up, except for June. June is the only one that's like, where am I at here? Like I'm getting ping pong. Yes, yes.
But the issue is that it is kind of his fault, because why did it take you this long to speak up? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like when she broke up with you and told you exactly what she wanted you to do, why you should just straight up been like, that's never what I wanted. You should have never even thought about it. You should have been like, I'm done. Like if I don't want to be with your sister, I want to be with you. And even if I love you that much to where I'm willing to do that, no, I want to be with you, and I'm not budging on that. So the character being written in that way to say like he's gonna do it because he love her. I mean, he's a little involved in the mess himself, but it's like I do get it because he is getting ping ponged around. Like
and again, a character who's smart as hell. He's very smart, but he doesn't get love. None of them do. So it's like, so he's probably like, listen, I'm gonna do this because I like you, and I do feel like maybe you're on to something with your sister. Like, it'd be nice to, I don't even know what the thought process would be in this particular situation.
Well, that's why I assumed he was about to break up with her, because he really don't want to be in this situation.
He didn't. And in the fact that he was thinking about her sister while they were on that date together was hard. It was hard. It was messy to see. It was very messy. I'm like,
okay, well, that was messy. Yeah,
it made me cringe. Like, I hate that. Like, don't.
Like, she got on top of him and he was like, "Nope, sister alert."
It's very all weird. It's a tough situation, and the fact that he said something, but he didn't say what he should have said, is where the problem lie. Right? Naori had to do it. It's a great show.
I can't wait to watch the next episode.
I know. I can't wait. We need this, like, every time we watch this show, it's always a conversation in Discord about, like, one of our producers, T Moneyfinger, says, I just caught up, and I'm gonna just say, hey, yo. Like, that's all he says. Like, hey, yo, man, come on, man. What another good point, I believe it was all for one Matt? No, it was Fear. He says, honestly, I'm out of the loop and I don't have any recent memory of shows that touched on domestic girlfriend and scums wish level. But he said we get one of these types of anime every 3 or 4 years, which is crazy because it's a fact. We need more of these.
Yeah, bro.
Even though like they're kind of heavy to watch, man.
I mean, I didn't feel like this was heavy. I was just more like on the edge of my seat. Like I said, I stood up at that last 10 seconds. And I feel like it will be heavy at the end of the season because I don't know if it goes the way I think that it will go, I think that maybe even, I hope this season will end here and they give us a conclusion. But I even feel like if they don't, then it'll get heavy. And I mean like heavy as in like, oh my God. This is too much for my heart. I love all of y'all, and I need y'all to love each other. I need y'all to do this right.
And I don't think there's ever going to be a problem where the sisters or June are ever going to fall out. I just think
it's the separation, because the falling out doesn't mean that y'all don't separate, like y'all don't talk anymore.
No, I don't see that either. I just see this being as like a strong. Right now, it's a strong case of the typical slice of life anime. Okay. You know what the typical slice of life anime is?
What's that?
It's just a bunch of misunderstandings. It's always just a misunderstanding that I think this is going to turn out to be that, and they're going to be like, okay, I get it now.
Here's the only issue. Here's the only issue with that for me is that June is more or less saying exactly what he wants.
Yeah.
At this point. So
You're
it's
right.
like, is this really a misunderstanding or is this like an intentional like
well, we go back to you go back to what you said earlier though. June didn't say, listen, I don't want to be with her. I want to be with you. Like he didn't say that from the offset. So misunderstanding one.
Had he said it from the beginning, then it wouldn't be this far even.
Exactly.
But I'm not. I don't know, bro. I don't know. I actually really enjoy this show. This show is crazy.
It's crazy. It's crazy. All right. Great show. We're going to talk about, hopefully the next episode won't lead us to talk about this next week again, but it might. And if it does, we apologize in advance. Moving on.
Episode of the week.
Episode of the week. Too many losing heroines. Again, brilliant, beautiful, perfect, paced. Everything about this episode is the perfect episode of anime. Like of anime, not just this summer. I think Saphir said it too. I think this season, this was the best episode of any show that we've watched. Even Oshi no Go. Like it was just that good of an episode because it had everything from start. It had the dramatic start to.
We finished off what we got last week.
It finished off. It concluded nicely, and by concluded nicely, I mean like emotional and as we knew it was going to turn out this way, it still was. It was predictable yet surprising at the same time the way it all planned out, and it's funny because the misunderstandings in this particular show are very childish. Very simplistic, very comedic, yet impactful and important because then you go through the fact that you see our main character, which is, I forget his name. The problem with this show is I'm never going to be able to remember anybody's name in it.
Yeah, bro. They bounce around.
They bounce around so much. Kazuhiko, it starts with him now realizing that the school is talking about Anna. Like, yo, you see that she's been hanging around this other guy? Like, does she like him? I don't know who this other guy is, but he's extremely, basically a loser, blah, 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 blah. And it goes to another typical anime trope executed extremely well because it's understandable. He's like, listen, I don't want to get her involved in fucking up her reputation and ruining her school year after she's already been struggling with her ex, and now is everybody talking about her being with another guy like she's just bouncing around. I'm gonna step back. And that happened. It happened in a way that is much more relatable and understandable.
What they did in this episode for me, just from the beginning, like you said, from the beginning.
Sorry, YouTube watchers. I caught a Charlie horse. That shit beat my ass.
I'm sorry. I didn't realize. I thought you was pausing to catch it, bro.
I finished my thought. I finished my thought, and I was like, "Fuck, Phil, go."
What this show did that was amazing for me was that from the beginning we did get that conclusion to what we got last week.
Yeah,
but that conclusion leads to Kazuhiko talking to the girl who was turned down, and talking about how he gave her a direct answer. He gave her a straight answer. And that was important for the rest of this episode because it literally leads into them going back to school. Like you said, he's hearing the rumors about people talking about, oh, well, isn't Yasuhiko or Yazumi, whatever her name is, isn't she like popular, and why is she hanging out with some random dude? We don't even know what he looks like.
Right.
And it's literally like it goes right back into the slice of life essence. Like it's just a slice of life. And they talk about how, like, or they show him literally sitting in the room and he's just eavesdropping in a sense, listening. And he hears that. And then the next scene after he kind of gets, I guess, like, reminded of that and he sees that, the next scene they show them like the students walking again and it's raining this time, as in showing his actual like sadness in that thought. And I'm like, this show is crazy because just the symbolism to lead right after that was beautiful. Not to mention the animation and everything just looks beautiful.
A1 pictures.
They lead and travel all of these moments together, like from beginning to end, to get you to the point to where you see our character being like sad and ruminating about this moment, to the point where he finally tells her, like, or he won't even talk to her. You know what I mean? Yeah. He doesn't even talk to her. Just
ignoring her, outright ignoring her, and not giving her a reason. Which again is like each time that she's approached him, right, was when she was around her friends. So he ignored that so that those rumors wouldn't continue. Completely understandable. Then
right.
the conversation with Siosuke, which is the guy who went with her best friend, Anna's best friend, and turned her down. He's like, listen, if y'all hanging out together, that's cool because of these rumors. She's like, if y'all hanging out together, I'm happy. I'm glad it's you, blah, 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 blah. Being a good dude. After a little comedic beat of him thinking he's about to get bullied or whatever the fucking case was. That part in itself, that conversation between those two is so good. And for Anna to come by and be like, nothing's happening, and then that whole little interaction was like, this, why is it so brilliantly paced? Like, slice of life don't have moments like this until episodes 8 or 9, after a whole struggle of misunderstandings and miscommunications. But this one just all saddles it up in one episode, and it feeds this trope so extremely well, and it ends on, I think, one of the best notes ever, and that's him just like, listen, I don't even have friends technically. To him, he has no friends. Anna's going to be the first one. I don't think he has any romantic feelings for Anna at all.
Not right now.
I just think he wants to be friends. And the fact that she denied him before he even asked her out.
Right, and then gonna call him fellow dumpy. Come on, bro.
Like, yeah,
I ain't been dumped.
I ain't been dumped yet.
I asked to be my friend, and you say, yeah, you tried to dump me. I wasn't even going for all that. You must dip on your chips.
Right. I don't know, man. This episode was brilliant. And you know what I'm thinking about too?
What's that?
I think Lemon is going to take a dip in this romantic pool with Kazuhiko.
I can see that, right? And I say that specifically because, hear me out, from the beginning of the show, and I feel like this show has already proven itself to be this kind of good. Mm-hmm. From the beginning of the show, it said we were friends first. We've been friends for longer. So, like, she feels like obligated to having those first dibs in a sense, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, if Lemon jumps in, she gonna be like, hold up. I was here first. You gonna have to let me jump in that first. And I think that, and I hate to say it, right? But I feel like there will be that kind of disagreement. And it might not even be Lemon. It might be the, what's the other little...
Chica.
Like, Chica, which could be hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think that that'll be the scenario. And ironically enough, I feel like this episode was a direct correlation because she talked about how I need to find somebody at my own time, at my own speed. And when I find somebody, I'm still gonna like you for right now until I find that person who I feel like is gonna be that replacement. And right now, I think she does have a sense of like it will be our MC, but I also think that she's like, you know, like I'm just, you know, still dealing with this emotion. I feel like that was a very real scenario for kids to be having.
Yeah, I think she does, but he doesn't.
Yeah, I don't think he knows at all. I think he's completely like negligent and unaware.
Yeah, very, very much so. I think I can't believe, how did we fucking just come across it? We forgot to say which one we was gonna review the week before. To pick this one randomly. All right, we're gonna just review this one.
Fire.
And it ended up being a fucking banger. 80% on Addy list, which is hard to do. Very, very hard to just, every time I put my leg down, this Charlie horse comes back and it kicks my ass.
Need some water.
That's what I was drinking.
Maybe some potassium.
Mm-hmm. That's what I was drinking. But I do feel like I don't know, it's one of the better ones. I'm looking at the list of characters. There is some characters we haven't really met yet. So, I don't know, man. Like,
okay, yeah, just a few.
How do you feel about the Chica loss?
Not really. I feel like. Well, what do you mean by loss?
Because she got the literature president ended up saying, well, no, at the end of the day, even though he was like, give me time to think about it.
Yeah. So that was the first conversation they really had in the beginning of this episode, right? Mm-hmm. I think that. So what makes it kind of weird is that it makes our MC kind of like the comfort point for all these characters, right? He kind of gets them together, brings them together, and they're gonna be almost like essentially comforted by him. So I think it does open the door for that conversation we were having, where one of these girls is gonna be attracted to him at some point, right? Mm-hmm. Her being turned down, I think, was great, mostly for the fact that the girl he ends up with, he had that whole conversation of, we were just childhood friends, right? Like, and there was that misunderstanding there, but it was cleared up, and I think that's what was beautiful about it. But I think that the idea is that there are losing heroines, and I think that that's the continued theme, is that even amongst this group where they kind of have this newfound, I guess, friendship, camaraderie, yeah, that there's still going to be too many losing heroines. Yeah, as in two.
I think it's just, I mean, just looking at like the art, I think it's only going to be these three, right? Yeah. But like, I don't know if I want him to be with any of them. I don't really see Anna being for him. I don't see it, especially with the way she acts towards him. It's like, no, it's not like that. Or, you know what I'm saying? Like, even when they were like, he was distancing himself from her, I was okay with it. I wasn't like sad about it, because I don't think Anna's that great. I think Lemon's better, mostly because of
her personality. She like came to check on him, and
yeah, she's more down to earth and a lot less eccentric, I guess is the word I'm looking for. Even though she's also very eccentric, but you know what I mean, just not as rambunctious as Anna, right? Right. I feel like she's the better choice here, even though Anna is like obviously the main heroine that's in this particular show. And I'm just glad that he like the conversation was him just being like, all right, let's be friends. Like that, and that's where he's at. I hope it stays that way. I don't want to see him with Anna. I just don't. And then Chica's just hilarious.
Yeah, I I could see them trying to mature Chica. I just hope that's not the case.
I don't see that. Yeah, I don't see that at all, actually. But you might be right. You never know. Anyway, Dale.
What's up?
I'm at Polo Bornfly on all social media.
I'm at King Teliano on all social media.
You can follow our social medias at Mike Check Waifu on Twitter and at Mike Check Waifu on Instagram, TikTok, Threads, and everywhere else. And as always, Mike Check.
You're now tuned into Mike Check Waifu Waifu. Is that you? Is that you? Is that you? Is that you? Is that you?